Hey guys, you're watching Dinner Talks on Cache Media. My name is TieJAi Maxwell, and tonight we're talking about discrimination within the LGBT community. Stay tuned.
This wine creeps up on you. Box wine does that.
Has anyone here online dated? Do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you find your experiences? No, I'm super interested because I find that
Everything nowadays is
I feel like app dating specifically, whether it's like Her or Tinder, Grindr, Bumble, Plenty of Fish.
There's so much.
Plenty. Throw it way back. Plenty of Fish, Match.com, you name it. What's OkCupid? I feel like is other ones.
Yeah.
They were like
Really?
Sugar daddy.
yeah, old lesbian ones like.
But I guess my question is, I find that like the experience collectively of people I know in our age group is that online dating, whether you're gay or straight, etc., is both sort of like reaffirms a lot of stereotypes and discrimination, but also can be democratic. You kind of match with people you maybe didn't think might like you, or can have conversations with people that you didn't expect to like you. I wonder if in a way that sort of has both like even the playing field a little bit. Does anyone have an experience that they care or share?
I think it's been super successful for me. I've been in a relationship for over like a year with like a great guy, you know, like yeah, it's definitely like I've had like a lot of duds, and you know sometimes like online dating for gay guys can be like either very sexual or like very relationship oriented. Rather searching for like LTR or like right now. You know, you never know gonna find.
Oh, I want to touch on that because I recently changed my gender on Tinder from woman to androgynous.
Love it.
And my matches have gone way down.
Really?
Interesting.
And I think it's because I changed my gender, which I find so ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
retarded, man. People
So
are-
like within this community, like and they Tinder, thank you. They list off like tons of different
Identities.
options, and then you can choose from, which is great because there are so many. It's ever evolving, and I think that's lovely. But yeah, as soon as I changed it, I feel like I don't pop up as much, and I don't know why.
Well, you were missing out. That's their problem.
Absolutely.
So, what in the community, do you have any comments about things like biphobia as well? Just sort of like discrimination against trans people in the community as well. If there is biphobia, I know Amanda, you earlier briefly said some of your friends like won't date bi girls. So, how true are those things, including for men? Like, would you date, or like, you know, are bi men accepted, or?
I mean, I think it is, but I think in the gay community, people don't like consider bi real. You know what I mean? It's like it's such like I
Fairy
think,
tale.
Yeah, but I don't. You know, it doesn't make sense to me
criteria.
because it's obviously a spectrum. But I think when people think for like men, it's like it's such a big leap to like be a gay man than it is like for like women. Because like no offense, but like you know like I have friends in high school who like kiss for fun. You know, and I'm sure that's insulting, but you know.
No, but it's like, but because of society, it's like women, because women
Yeah.
is sexualized, so it's accepted.
Yeah, that's a stereoteep right there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the whole Britney Madonna,
That's a whole
remember?
stereotype right there.
Yeah,
That shit didn't stop for months. But
Yeah.
like, if like a man kissed a man, like, you know, what I mean?
It's huge.
There's no way
Oscar.
you can go back.
Yeah.
You get an Oscar.
Yeah.
That's the way
like-
you go back. That's the way people treat it.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I'm sure there's like bi men who feel the same way that bi girls do, who can't explore that way without feeling like taking like such a big commitment.
Perhaps.
And that's probably why when we're online, there's so many like faceless torsos and like straight men who are probably like, you know, they're too scared
Closet.
to take that.
They're like, oh, I'm straight.
Boy,
I'm
bye. You want
just
a
on
piece
your-
of
On the
this?
DL.
It's like, yeah, but because they get it, you know, once people do treat them like they can't go back from kissing a man or being with a man, which is so stupid.
Yeah. I run this group on Facebook called the Edmonton League of Lesbians, which now I realize is completely outdated because not everyone's gonna identify as lesbian. So we've like, and that's a whole issue in itself. Like trying to change our name from Edmonton League of Lesbians to like be incredibly inclusive without using gender identities, without using like too many sexual identities has been really challenging. So we're Edmonton League lesbians, and then in brackets, the entire spectrum, which is lovely.
That's awesome.
But even on that group, like if a woman who's bi will post a picture or however they want to like start getting a conversation going, and they'll post like a little bit about themselves, their name, and then just some of these women will just like pound them. Wow. And they're like, you don't belong here. There's no place for you here. But like, I'm in charge of the group alongside of a friend, and we monitor everybody that tries to get into that group. Because a lot of guys trying to get into that group, and then no.
Yeah.
No. We are a women, non-binary based group. Like, as if you're a cisgender male, you are not welcome in our group. That's just because there's no safe spaces for, like, I find there's not a lot of safe spaces for us in the community, so I try to make that happen. But I don't know what it is about bi and pan women, but some lesbians are just not about them. And maybe they got burned too many times, I don't know, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous, because how can you write somebody off? Like, how can someone, like, that'd be like someone coming up to me and being like, oh, you have blue eyes? I don't trust you.
I find it so hypocritical when people in the community, they discriminate those within the community or outside the community, and using the same rhetoric that people that made laws that discriminate against LGBT plus community members.
Yeah, there's.
I find it so hypocritical, and they don't really see that irony that they're, like, the kind of irony they're doing. They don't see it, and I just.
Again, they think they're entitled because they're a minority and they are a part of the LGBTQ community. They're not cisgender, they're not straight, whatever. And so they just think that they are entitled to. I just don't think they see it as discrimination. They call it a preference.
Yeah.
So it's not discrimination. I'm not racist. It's a preference.
Preferring
Because they
burgers over hot dogs,
sexualize
it's a
everything.
preference.
Right.
Yeah, but saying that you're not going to date trans people is not, like, I personally don't think that's okay. I don't think you can just write somebody off, and like, if you meet somebody and you have a connection with them, like,
What does it matter?
What does it
Like,
matter?
They're
Yeah.
obsessed with labeling themselves because they feel like if they kind of leave that label, people are gonna say, well, you're not actually what you say you are. Everyone's just so focused on these labels.
There's a lot of positivity here, and I see a lot of people who are really passionate about
Yeah.
calling people out. So I guess my next question is, what do you think are positive steps people are taking within the community, A, and B, what needs to be done? What are like some really concrete things that need to happen, and how can people within the community, but as well as like, maybe this is a bit of a segue, an ally who thinks that's problematic, feel comfortable being like, yo, that's really not cool. And if
I
you
got a
were
couple
straight saying
solutions.
that, you would not, it would not be appropriate. You would not be
'cause
allowed to say that.
Would that be hard for you if you, like, say we got into a disagreement or something, or I started saying something so shitty about trans people, like, would you feel like you're not in a place to start calling me out?
Sometimes, yeah, there have been situations where like, oh, I guess I can't say anything because I'm literally a white straight girl,
But at the end of the day, you're just trying to be a good person.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Just trying to not tolerate your racist, sexist, exclusionary bullshit.
Totally.
Yeah, just trying to be an ally, okay?
Excuse me, I do want to ask a quick question. Is it okay, since we're talking about discrimination, is it okay to discriminate against police marching in the pride parades?
See, my thing is, I understand how a lot of people that are in the community, especially trans folks and people of color, especially trans people of color, because they face discrimination from the police, they feel threatened and they don't feel comfortable at Pride because they're there. I do like that the police said, well, we'll take, like, we won't be in uniform. So then it almost removes that barrier. I do think it's an issue to say that they're banned because there are LGBTQ members within that are police, and I feel like they worked hard to be accepted there and to be where they're at, and to tell someone that's struggling with that and made it that they're not welcome, like the one main place that they are. I think if you're a police and you're not for the Pride Parade, you're not going to march in it. But
So-
if you are, you should be able to march in
So
it.
it seems like Edmonton Pride and Pride's here in the Prairie provinces, they're just taking marching orders from Vancouver and Toronto, where they actually do have a policing problem that is discriminatory against people of color and LGBT in Toronto. But here in Edmonton, I do feel that police actually get better training. I haven't seen the full scope of it, but I do work in healthcare and I do see a bit of that, and I honestly, like, I think that I I have no shame in saying this. I think Edmonton Pride is taking marching orders from Toronto Pride, and I feel that's the wrong way to go.
I feel like there wouldn't have been the protest that there was if there wasn't an issue. And
Yes.
we might just not be members of that community that are like receiving that discrimination from police. We might have privilege that we're not aware of. There could be members of the community here in Edmonton, and there is, obviously, or else they wouldn't have had a protest, that feel like they're very uncomfortable with the police marching. And I think that's something that we just can't toss to the side. I think that's something we have to acknowledge.
And I think if you're an Indigenous person, especially if you're an Indigenous gay person, especially I feel like an Indigenous woman in Edmonton, you might not feel very comfortable being both a, I don't know, queer or two-spirited person going to an event where people that literally treat you like you're the lowest member of society are hanging out or marching in a parade.
Like, I could see like both sides of the argument. Like, it's nice that we live in a time when like the police support like LGBTQ like movements, but then at the same time, like Pride was like kind of like the parade was kind of like a protest against police, and that's where like it was fundamentally started. And there's still people who march in it who were from that time when they were marching against police and against anti-LGBTQ laws, you know, bathhouse raids, like things like that. So I think it's still kind of like, I can't imagine like starting like a movement like that, still watching it and seeing the people who you were marching against in the Pride parade with you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But shouldn't it get modernized though?
I mean, like it is in a way, but I don't know if like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like we are in the 21st century, and I do think, and I do feel that society should be in the 21st century along with 21st century ideals such as acceptance across the board, doesn't matter what.
So I feel like it's hard to accept people who continuously treat you not well.
Absolutely.
And I haven't faced any of that because I'm white privileged. So, I mean, they obviously, they're, like you said, they're protesting for a reason. I don't think they should be omitted completely, but I think the no uniforms was a really good step. It takes away that barrier, and I think it should be just maybe members that are in the community that are also police should be the only ones marching. I think that's because they're proud and they are also police, and I think we have to accept the fact that there are people in our community that want to be police officers. Maybe they want to be police to make the force better, so that treatment stops. So I think we still have to acknowledge that. But I do like the no uniforms, huge step, incredible. But I think it should just, I don't know. But then how do you don't want to sit through and sift the police and say, okay, who's the queer ones? You're the only ones in the parade, you know?
You're outing people that
So I guess it might be
True.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess it's easier to just omit them completely or have them all, rather than.
So why is it okay to omit police and other service members such as military or paramedics or fire, or have companies march in the parade?
I think reconciliation is really important. I think that it's really hard for, like, we are all from a time where we weren't getting murdered for being gay. Thankfully. Like, people still are, unfortunately, that's still happening. But I think that like this is, like, a pride parade is a symbol of not just like acceptance and inclusivity, but also of like surviving. And there are a lot of people that are marching the parade today can't march in the parade today because they were murdered by police, because they were raided, because it was different back then. And I think that until these people are held accountable for that, I think accountability is something that's really taking precedence now in our world. And like, we have discrimination within our own community, but we have discrimination against like everybody else tenfold. So I think that they protested for a reason. I think that yes, we are preaching inclusivity and we're preaching acceptance, but like if lives are being lost, I think that takes precedence, and that needs to be addressed in a very, very big way.
And they have to almost earn the right to come back into the like. Of course, we're accepting, but we're only accepting of people that aren't going to harm us.
Demonstrate their allyship.
Demonstrate that you're that you're an ally and that you're not gonna kill people for So I feel like obviously you don't have to earn the right to be in the community, but I think the police do.
So in closing, it seems like we have a lot more work to do. And it's gonna be a journey. But honestly, I think once we're there, it's gonna be awesome.
I think that at the end of the day, however anybody identifies, if they are on the spectrum, if they're off the spectrum, if they don't give two shits about the spectrum, just accept somebody at face value, and the world would be such a different place.
There you go. There you go. Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that, guys.
Cheers to that. Thank you. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. And find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Boom. That's a wrap.
We didn't touch up on
I know. It's okay.
next time.
What do you mean? What thing?
What we can do for the community.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I feel like
we
that's
gotta get
fun.
up
I feel like
front.
that kind
You're
of tied
good.
in with almost
Yeah.
every
I
time.
love it. I love